Hey y'all, it's me, Dree. So today we're starting with joy, gratitude, and anxiety. So joy, this is showing me that the collective has found their way back into a lighter emotional state. And this gratitude, well, this shows me that y'all can now appreciate what your experiences have taught you. But then with anxiety, this card tells me that even though the collective feels better, there is still uncertainty surrounding whatever is coming next. Now let's get into this message. We start with Death reversed, Hanged Man, Four of Cups. So with this Death reversed, I'm seeing a real internal change here. Because yes, the collective is feeling joy. That would be a big internal change. Y'all are easily releasing anything or anyone that y'all now understand to have self-serving interests in you. I'm getting that the collective is clearing and purging what no longer belongs in y'all's life. Y'all are transforming from within, and because of that transformation, y'all are no longer holding on to people or situations simply because they once mattered. Then we have the Hanged Man. So this is a shift in perspective. I'm getting the collective is seeing people clearly and exactly for who they really are instead of who y'all hoped they would be. So there has been an awakening here, a real epiphany. I'm getting that y'all can now recognize who is moving from genuine care and who has self-serving interests. Which brings us into this Four of Cups naturally. Because with this card, I'm getting that the collective is no longer willing to maintain connections that leave y'all feeling dissatisfied or emotionally weary or even reluctant to engage. So this is not the collective sitting in sadness over what they are releasing, because y'all are feeling joy. So I'm getting the collective can let these people go without fighting to preserve the relationship, because quite frankly, these people no longer deserve access to you, right? And that would naturally flow into gratitude here, because I'm getting that this lesson that we're talking about, I'm getting that has taken a lifetime of integration before y'all could finally reach this internal decision-making state that you are now in. So I'm getting y'all are grateful for this new ability to see people clearly. Y'all no longer have to romanticize potential. Y'all no longer have to excuse self-serving behavior. And I'm getting that y'all no longer have to keep loving people for who you hoped they would eventually become. Y'all can accept people for who they have consistently shown themselves to be. And now y'all can make your decisions from that very truth. That is a big deal. Let's see what this center column and the middle of this message has to say. We've got the Knight of Swords, the Nine of Swords reversed, and then the Queen of Swords reversed. All these swords. Lots of thinking here. So, with this Knight of Swords, I'm getting this is how people have been behaving in the collective's field. There have been people who acted before thinking. They were impatient, impulsive. They were always on the move, and their involvement was constantly coming and going based on the moment they were operating in. So I'm getting that these people, they were flighty. It's kind of like they had 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And I'm getting that the collective never really knew which version of these people were actually going to show up. And then we move into the Nine of Swords reversed. And I'm getting that what sits between these people and the collective is real emotional anguish. There is regret here, emotional baggage, intense feelings, and unresolved issues, because I'm getting these people's inconsistency that caused real damage to the collective. And I'm getting that's because their involvement was never stable enough for the collective to feel secure in these dynamics. And I'm getting that this repeated coming and going energy, it eventually left y'all in this Queen of Swords reversed kind of energy. Because what I'm getting with this card is that the collective, y'all became defensive. Y'all became overly critical, harsh maybe, pessimistic. And I'm getting that y'all's vision became clouded because y'all were trying to protect yourselves from being hurt again. So I'm getting that this situation did more than create emotional anguish. It forced y'all to learn how distorted energy moves altogether. Because I'm getting these people that you experience could appear focused in one moment and disappear in the very next. They could communicate intensely without offering consistency. And they could move toward the collective without actually being prepared to remain there. Very temporary energy. So what I'm getting here is y'all had to stop focusing on isolated moments. And what you had to do is you had to recognize the pattern. Because this is an entire pattern collective. And I'm getting that your experience is what created the discernment that we saw in this first row. Now y'all can identify inconsistency. Y'all can identify self-serving behavior. Y'all can recognize emotional instability and distorted intentions before those energies are able to pull y'all back into this same defensive state. And I'm getting that's why gratitude is showing up here. Because the collective feels something real about recovering from all that distortion. Y'all are feeling joy now. And y'all feel genuine gratitude for the harsh reality you had to live through, because it taught y'all how to recognize distorted energy before it can take hold of y'all again. But I can also understand why thinking back on this distortion would bring up this anxiety, because I'm getting, once y'all recover from a state like this, y'all do not want to go back. And that would bring real uncertainty about the future that's coming into play. Wouldn't it? Then this message, it ends with the 10 of Coins, the Ace of Swords reversed, and the Page of Wands. So moving right into this 10 of Coins, what I'm getting here is that the collective, y'all are building something real right now. There is a lot at stake. This 10 of Coins represents family, legacy, wealth. It represents lineage. It represents y'all's security. And it represents y'all's home. And I'm also getting it, and everything else that y'all are working to establish for the long term. And there's a contrast here, because this Knight of Swords, I said, seemed very temporary. That's not what y'all are focused on anymore. You guys are focused about the big picture. So I'm getting strongly that going backwards is not something y'all are even willing to consider. Y'all have worked too hard to rebuild. And y'all have regained your joy. Y'all have recovered your discernment. And now y'all are creating something solid to stand on. And I'm getting the biggest lesson here is that when the collective is building from a stable position, y'all are only going to want to attract people who are also operating from an equal stance. Don't you think? Because going back to this is real legacy. This is real generational wealth. And this is real security. And I'm getting that the collective does not want what y'all are building to be affected by unstable or distorted energy. And then we move into this Ace of Swords reverse. And the risk feels real enough that the collective is reevaluating the energy y'all engage with entirely. Because if there is blocked communication, if information appears to be missing, if someone creates confusion instead of clarity, or if there's any indication that something is not being communicated honestly, then I'm getting the decision becomes very simple for the collective, because y'all are no longer going to chase clarity from people who are creating confusion. The collective is not going to ignore what is missing, because y'all understand that unclear energy can quickly turn and become into unstable energy. And unstable energy, that is not something we're trying to build a legacy around. Now, is it, collective? Absolutely not. And then we drive the message home with this Page of Wands. And this card is important. The last card, it always is, isn't it? But I'm getting with this card that the collective, y'all feel this anxiety. Y'all understand that the risk here is real. But because y'all are already feeling this joy again, and because y'all feel real gratitude for what the past has taught y'all, you feel the anxiety. But the collective chooses to engage with life anyways. Y'all do not allow the fear of repeating the past to keep y'all disconnected from the future. Y'all are moving forward with a new lease on life. Y'all are remaining open, curious, playful, creative, and also y'all are willing to participate with the world again. And I'm getting, collective, that this is the right call here, because when y'all engage with life again, that is exactly what leads y'all towards exciting plans, good news, and new opportunities. And also, it's going to lead you to experiences that actually match the person that you have become. So yes, the anxiety is real, but the anxiety does not get to make the decision here, does it? No, because the collective moves forward with discernment instead of fear. Y'all have learned how to see people clearly. Y'all have learned how to recognize distorted energy. And now y'all can protect what y'all are building without closing yourselves off from everything life still has to offer. So overall, what I'm getting from this message is that the collective has reached a place of emotional maturity. Y'all are no longer trying to save every connection. Y'all are no longer trying to convince people to become who y'all know they could be. Instead, y'all are allowing people to reveal exactly who they are. And y'all are making your decisions from that very truth. And that is discernment. And I'm going to say it. Discernment is what protects the joy, the peace, and the legacy y'all are focused on. And that's the message that I have for y'all today. So if this one found y'all today, let it be a reminder that protecting your peace is not closing your heart. It is honoring everything the universe has already brought the collective through. So I want to say thank you all so much for spending this time with me today. And if you made it to the end, please do let me know in the comments down below. And if this reading resonated with y'all, then like it. Tell me about it and subscribe, because it really does help support the channel, and it allows these messages to reach the people who need them the very most. And if y'all are watching me on TikTok or Instagram, make sure y'all are following me there as well. And remember, as always, where there's love, there's light. I'll see y'all again real soon.